Welcome to the Information Security Collective. You're listening to an episode of Insecurity We Trust with Ali Diamond and Tish Harper. You're about to hear from industry professionals, learn about their life in InfoSec, what it takes to work in the field, and what it's really like to take security to its breaking point. Enjoy the conversations as Ali and Tish discuss all things security with their guests and possibly stir things up along the way.
Hi, welcome back to Insecurity We Trust. I'm Ali.
I'm Tish.
And welcome to the first episode. I'm so excited to be here. Are you?
I am.
Yeah. So we were asked by Parker to come in and record this podcast and start this really cool podcast together. And we felt like for our first episode, it'd be really cool if we just got to know the hosts, us. So we spent a little bit of time doing some research, figuring out about each other, and we came with like a couple of questions that we thought would be a good primer to introduce each other. What do you think?
I'm down for it. My research probably was not as in-depth as yours. I may be lacking on questions, but that just gives you more time to say whatever you want to say.
True. I promise you my questions aren't that amazing. So it'll be fine. You'll come up with questions. It'll be fine. That's what a good podcast host comes up with, is questions on the fly.
There you go.
So I guess I should ask. So I was looking through your online and it looks like you've got a lot of pastry experience.
Yeah, I am actually a baker, certified pastry chef. I also worked for a Michelin star restaurant in New York City. I know it sounds all fabulous. It's kind of all right. And personally, I have my own little Miss Muffin cup. That's my baking name, which also transferred to Twitter, and it's also my tech name. Trying to figure it out still. Who knows? But yeah, I like to bake. It's my stress reliever, more or less.
Yeah. So baking was not like the first thing that brought you here to where you are right now, but you had a very unique pathway. So can you just, like, I guess for the people who are new, who don't know you, how did you jump from baking and Michelin star restaurants to a passion of security?
Passion of security was me running down a rabbit hole for 3 days with limited sleep. So prior to getting into tech, I was a flight attendant for United Airlines and decided to take a year off. And when I was ready to go back out to work, the pandemic hit.
Oh no.
It wasn't exactly the best time to take a year off. But then again, it literally opened up a huge new world of possibilities of things to do with my life. And after stumbling down a rabbit hole for 3 days, I stood up and I was just like, you know what? I want to do cybersecurity. And clearly I have no friends, because they would have said, hey, you start at A+ and then you go to CISA+ if you want to do blue team. But I just woke up that day and I enrolled in an entire boot camp for CISA+. Yeah.
Whoa. Oh my God. I love that drive.
Speaking of that, you have like 18 experiences on LinkedIn. 18. You are literally a tech baby from, I want to say, 2016. Your LinkedIn page is amazing. How did you manage 18 different roles in that short space of time?
Well, I mean, I have internships and stuff definitely on my LinkedIn too. I wouldn't say that it is all from 2016. I started my tech journey. Technically, I started coding in 2008. Yeah. So like I had my first like summer internship, or excuse me, I started coding in 2009. I had my first summer internship in 2012. And my LinkedIn is definitely like my running resume of everything I've done, because I'm not like saving that stuff on my resume. So I promise you it looks a lot more impressive than it is, but it's a lot of short-term stuff. So I promise you it's not that high up.
But I feel like short-term can also be another way of saying you have range, because there's different roles in there that I saw as well. There's like the internships, there's some coding in there, there's some research in there, threat hunting in there. So even though they may have been for like short spaces of time, you definitely have range. And I feel like that's what makes you so versatile and such an excellent candidate. I mean, if I was a recruiter, I would definitely want to talk to you.
Yeah. I mean, I started off in the science research field. I love science research. I think that like I'm a woman of science. I'm a woman of STEM. I come from an engineering background and an engineering family, which I know is a huge privilege that not many people get. Like my grandfather, my father, my uncle, my sister are all different kinds of engineers, and many of my other family members are engineers. Like I literally, people are like, Ali, why do you use Celsius? Like you live in America. And I'm like, because I believe in science. It's not that hard.
I use Celsius because my country, my home country, Trinidad, we use Celsius.
Yeah, of course. And the rest of the world use Celsius too. I'm like, Celsius, kilometers, let's go. Let's, like, if I could use Kelvin, I would 100% use Kelvin. Kelvin is, for those who are listening who don't know, Kelvin is a unit of heat measurement that like 0 Kelvin is literally impossible to reach. It's a more scientific unit of like energy and temperature. So I personally
definitely grew up in an engineering house.
Yeah. So like if I could, I'm definitely like, I love science research. I specifically did science research in the chemistry field. And then just like always have a tech thumb, I guess. Not a green thumb. I kill all my plants. So don't ask me to keep your plant alive.
Noted.
Yeah. And I'm super curious for you. Like this is like a small thing, but I'm really curious to hear like, what is the hardest pastry you've ever made?
So I really loved trying to connect with French pastries and find a way to mesh them with authentic pastries from my country. And that seemed to be quite difficult because of the type of ingredients. Our cakes are more denser cakes than French cakes. We don't really use a lot of like chocolate-based stuff for our desserts. Our desserts are more borderline savory, and then when they're sweet, they're like an entire 25-pound bag of sugar sweet. So some of our pastries, there's this thing called sugar cake, I'm sorry, and it's made from coconut flakes, and you literally put the coconut flakes in like a sugar syrup and you stir it. You can add food color into it to make it different colors. And then there's a technique that you layer it and you put it onto parchment paper to form. And then you eat it like you're eating like a cookie, more or less. And I tried to merge like a regular French pastry or like the puff pastry.
Yeah.
I try to see if I can like merge them together to have like a coconut type of textured puff pastry. And it really was kind of like hit or miss. It was more miss for me because nobody really liked it. But putting them together or merging 2 different countries and their pastries together, that's really, really difficult. So it also taught me a lesson to just like stick to one, either one or the other. And it's been working out well so far.
Is there like anything that you've experienced as a baker that like has taught you valuable lessons in the security space?
Interesting. Good question. Not really in terms of SMB, small business owner. Security, it definitely taught me a little bit of where I faltered, where I could have been more productive, where I could have like not necessarily hardened systems, but be more secure of my product. And coming into this field also taught me to, now that I know what headers are and I can build stuff, I can, go and build like a whole new web page for myself now. Instead of paying somebody to do that, I can understand graphics a little bit thanks to, GitHub and stuff like that. So in that aspect, yes, but to answer your original question, not really.
What about being a flight attendant? Has there been anything as a flight attendant that you feel like has taught you perseverance in the space? Like, what do you really feel like has carried over from that?
Hmm. Um, the chattiness, the
The
people.
chattiness. Uh,
Being able to connect with people, being able to talk to people. I definitely miss that because I would go through like 300 people um, on a daily basis. Sometimes I would have like 4 legs. So I'm flying down to Virginia. I'm flying back to Newark. I'm flying to Newark. I'm back at Newark. I'm going to Albany. I come back to Newark. And those are like how the regional airlines work. When you're flying in the country, you do like 4 flights a day. And it's like hello, 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 hello 300 times, goodbye 300 times. So now that I'm in this industry, like I kind of miss that. But then there's Twitter and there's other platforms where I still get to interact with people. I still get to talk to people. So that really is the only thing that I brought over into this environment, that I'm really, really happy about.
That's really
And
cool. I feel like it's definitely like a tool, especially feeling confident to be able to do a lot of outreach, because like I'm a huge preacher of this, but like being willing to like talk to anyone and just be like, hey, I need some help. Like there's a whole world out there, especially on Twitter, that people miss out on from just like not being able to like, or excuse me, there's a whole world out there on Twitter that like people miss out on because they're like, oh, I'm kind of scared to talk to this person, blah, blah, blah. But like, they're there, just say hi, you know?
say hi. I have a question for you.
Yeah.
I know you sound like you came from like a whole engineering background. I'm pretty sure you got a lot of help with assignments along the way, or you had support. No.
No, none. I did all my work myself.
What made you go as far as to do the master's, knowing that a lot of people preach that once you have a certification and you get in, that's really it, you don't really need to go for the master's? What was the motivation behind that?
Yeah, so there was a couple of things. One, I didn't have a full-time job. I couldn't find one. Two, at MIT, which is the school that I went to, they make it very easy to get a master's degree. Like literally, I considered it almost rolling over in the bed, because they figured out a way to have your credits as an undergrad roll over into your master's degree. And then also I didn't have to take any like exams. So everyone's like, oh my God, Allie, you have a master's degree. You're so smart. I'm like, I didn't have to take any of the GREs. Like I didn't have to write any essays. I just had to meet a GPA requirement that was
No.
like literally a GPA requirement, and they like let you manipulate your GPA based on, there's like 3 different ways that you can manipulate your GPA to get in. And like I got in on like I'll be honest, I wasn't an amazing student, but I got in on like the last possible GPA requirement, like manipulation, and that's how I got in. So it was like almost like do it now and get it out of the way, and then go into the real world. And I don't regret it. I mean, I spent a lot of time. And then I probably took one of the hardest courses I ever took, which is concurrency. And it's definitely taught me a really amazing way to think about the world. So it was just a very difficult, like concurrency. Oh my God. Concurrency was one of the hardest courses I ever took. I think if you're looking it up at MIT, it's 6828. Impossible. It was so hard, but I passed.
That's how I feel about Linux.
Yeah. I feel that.
That's how I feel about Linux. I know it's supposed to be the easiest, most introductory, easiest thing to understand. And, I just don't get it. I get a command, I remember it, but then, when you have to put everything together, especially if you have to like write a bash script and stuff like that, I'm just like, where's Google? Because there's no way I'm going to remember this. But Linux definitely like put me through the ringer trying to understand it. Another thing, I'm also like a flight student. So I have a couple of flight hours under my belt. I can, sort of fly airplanes with assistance. And,
Is there a pilot on the plane?
But I always say Linux is harder than learning to fly an airplane. Learning Linux, learning how to pen test, all of these things, putting them together, SQL injection. I've never used my entire brain. And, there's days when I felt like, oh, wow, I used every ounce of my brain, even the little backup 3% cells that you have. No, they were in front there fighting the war to figure out how to understand this script. and Linux is definitely my kryptonite. Like, don't ask me anything about Linux ever. Please.
Oh my God. Well, you know what we'll have to do? We'll have to, for our oncoming guests, we'll ask them Linux questions, like test their Linux knowledge, so that when they come on, we can learn stuff about Linux. Because like Linux took me a while to understand, and I still don't I can't write scripts for my life either. I totally get it.
Good.
It's hard.
Whew.
It's
I feel
hard.
better now. It is.
So like you were saying, like when you were going on and you were like using all of your brain, like what was your study plan? Like what was your action plan, especially coming from like a very non-traditional background? Like what was your action plan to getting started? You said that you just like got up out of your chair and you're just like, I'm gonna do this. And then you got remind me which test you got?
CISA. So I did a boot camp. I did a 15-week boot camp. No doubt.
Wow.
Yeah. So the classes were staged in a way where they were not self-taught, instructor-led online, thankfully. And prior to my first day, I knew nothing about technology. And it was so bad that my computer, which was a MacBook Pro at that time, did not meet the basic system requirements for the class. I had to get a Luna. So I knew nothing. I thought my 4 gigs was something, but now I'm just here and I'm like, give me 64. I can tell you that now. But the class was literally 9 to 4-ish, 9 to 3:30. It was all day, back in school again. And I hadn't been in school since I was training to be a flight attendant, because you go to training for like 6 weeks and stuff like that. So I really was not like in that school environment mentally. My brain was still relaxed. I just had a whole year of COVID. I was home, I was relaxing. And the plan was, I had no plan because I had no idea what I was going into. Everything was rushed initially, because again, it's a whole new field with no amount of prep. Had I known this before, I would have, done a bunch of YouTube courses and try to figure this thing out and at least go in with some knowledge. But I really, really didn't. And I probably made 48 hours out of a 24-hour day. I would finish school. Then I would have like 3 hours of homework. Then I would do some more reading to catch up. I would watch another video. My eyes would start bleeding. And then I'd be like, okay, that's it. That's it. That was my stopping point. And then I just rinsed and repeat, did it all over again for 15 weeks. And it was definitely one of the most challenging things I've ever done in my entire life. That and giving birth. But yeah.
Oh my God. Period. Oh my God. So you said it yourself, like you wish you had more prep. What were some of the things that you wish you learned about before you started?
Definitely. And let me just preface this by saying this is really the reason that I wanted to have a platform to share with others, because I see it happening all the time. Every day, people come on and they ask the one major question: how do I get into this? How do I become a hacker? How do I do this? How do I do that? And, you don't know if you don't know. And it's really hard to narrow it down, because tech is like this one tree with so many branches. And even though like I'm really, really adamant about being a pen tester, this is me 7 months in. And sometimes I'm like, I might be able to do that. That looks juicy. Do I still want to do pen testing? So I definitely want to inform or tell anybody, if you're coming into this, just give it time. You will find your path. It's good to know where you want to go, but still be open-minded about exactly what you want to do. And I just went straight into a boot camp, and I really wish I had someone to sit and talk to, like how we're having a conversation. I wish I could have said, hey, so I saw this ad for CISA, and I'm thinking about taking a boot camp. And then therefore someone more experienced would have said, okay, so did you finished Network Plus, you finished Security Plus? Because these are foundational tools for this particular certificate. And I felt like, had I had a conversation with someone that was able to sit down and give me the fundamental direction, it would have been a lot easier. I wouldn't be in the position that I'm in right now looking for roles, and I have no tech experience, but I also have a mid-tier certificate. And it kind of like, it's bittersweet because it's like, oh yeah, this is a nice certificate, but I really can't do anything with it because unless you have a conversation with me and I physically tell you, this is what I can do, this is what I cannot do. If you look at my resume, you won't see it there because I have no experience. And
Yeah.
it really is kind of like a bittersweet thing because it's nice to know that, you were able to, pass this extremely hard exam. And yeah, props to me for that. Hey, but then I still have to go back now. I have to start all the way back at E+. I literally sat in a 4-hour class today for a networking 5-day boot camp just to refresh everything that I had to learn in about, I think I learned all of networking in about, I want to say about a month. And that was literally everything. IDS, IPs, subnetting, TCP, UDP, iOS. Oh, I hate saying that. Oh, model. Don't throw sausage pizza away. So it really was a lot. And I really feel like it's important to sit and have conversations before you go down that yellow brick road that isn't so yellow after all.
Yeah.
But how was it for you though?
You know what? I don't have any certs yet. I'm working on it.
Okay, that's good.
I'm completely self-taught at this point, and I know I do work in the security space, and one of the things, part of my job is security education. And so part of the way that I'm approaching security education is as I learn, I share. And that's why I Twitch stream. That's why I do all of this live. I literally am like, hey, I'm learning about this right now. Come hang out with me. I really would love to get a certification just to like really solidify my knowledge. And maybe I can figure out a way to do that in my job. But like, for me, I'm just all about democratizing education and making sure that I keep everything super open. So as I learn, I share.
And I feel like that's really awesome because that's another way to look at it too. Because, you see people out here offering all of these classes and, they're so expensive. They capitalize on it. And after my boot camp, that's when I realized that I didn't need to pay. I was never going to pay for anything again. Thankfully, my boot camp instructors were amazing. So I was able to understand how to self-train after. And I feel like that was like one of my major takeaways from that boot camp as well. Because now I'm learning. I have like a whole calendar. I'm learning a bunch of stuff, but I'm never paying any money for it. I'll pay for a cert, but not to train, not to learn because, and I feel like a lot of people would benefit from that too, because a lot of people are not in that position where they can afford tertiary education, extra education, the boot camp. Boot camps are expensive. I applied to Rutgers and their boot camp was $14,000 for 4 months.
Oh my God. That's crazy.
Yes. So if ever you are looking for a boot camp, please look up Per Scholars. It's an organization. It's non-for-profit and it's FREE, free. Great instructors, great program. I will forever be indebted to that place because they gave me my start in technology. And the teachers there, the instructors are really, really nice. They push you. I've tried to quit that class so many times, but my instructor would not. No was just not an option for him as well.
My God, that's so good. I love when you have good teachers. I think that's so important. And that's, at least as a like developer educator, developer advocate, someone working in developer relations, that's something that I'm super passionate about, is like making sure that I encourage my peers. I'm horrible at encouraging myself. I think that's my like catch-22 is like, oh my God, you can do it, but not me. Not me. You? Yes. Me? No. No. All you.
That's probably me when somebody asks me to teach them to bake something. I'm usually like, look, there's a YouTube video. I can send it to you.
Yeah.
But the one-on-one, no, not really. Maybe I can show you a video.
Oh my God. Literally me. I'm always down to help people find resources.
Same.
So I have a random question for you. I got this question off of Twitter, and I would like to know, what is the optimum pattern for removing snow off of a car?
Hold on, I have like 2 of those. So I usually clear my roof midway to back and then midway to front.
Okay.
What is it?
I've never done it before.
Ah,
I
you've
don't
never
know.
cleaned snow?
Off a car? Absolutely not. I saw you post a photo on Twitter, and I was like, I should ask her about this. I'm from warm weather. I don't own a car. So when I saw you post a photo, I was like, she probably knows how to clear snow off a car. Maybe I should like ask her, you know?
So I feel like that, and unfortunately, I'm only 5'1". I'm super short. So what I usually would have to do is clear off the sides of the roof first, and then I have to open the door, and with that little foot rail part there, I stand there, and then I'm able to like take off the rest of snow. So I feel like if I divvy the car in half, and I do half going down the back, half going down the front, chop it into 4 pieces, left, right, that's kind of like my pattern, and it works so far. It does. It's weird, but it works.
Yeah. I mean, you've done it. I haven't, so I wouldn't know. So we have a question from the audience, and I feel like you're definitely going to be one to hit hard with this. How can incoming folks best use social media to establish themselves in the industry? And I feel like you're definitely going to be I want to hear your answer, and then I'll give mine.
Just do what I do. Talk to anybody. Network. Post questions, but also be bold. Be brave, be bold, cast the widest net you can possible, open up every platform you have, join as many Discord channels, servers, talk to everybody, but ask questions. And when I say ask questions, I don't mean just the most random question. Do be mindful of other people's time and their effort and energy to answer you. Do a little bit of research first, or have a question in mind, do a little bit of research, or maybe have like a follow-up. So, hey, I had this question on this particular Linux command. So I Googled it and I saw this page, but I wasn't sure how to implement it. I'm not sure how to type it in. Am I putting a pipe between this, or am I putting 2 dashes in front of it? You know, you don't want to just go randomly like, so I have a question, how do I learn Linux? No, you can Google that, and you'll get more reception if you approach the question with the mindset that I looked it up before, but I really don't understand it. And you can ask these questions from the little people like me to the big sharks like Alyssa Knight, Alyssa Miller, Phil Wiley, Keaton Evans. Find them up, look them up, go type into Google who are the world's top hackers, stuff like that. Find them on Instagram, look at their page, find them on Twitter, find them on LinkedIn, send them a message. These people will reach out to you, because you know what? Security really is their passion. And if somebody's really passionate about something, they will talk to you about it. And I feel like using any platform you can, it's definitely beneficial.
And I want to really add to that is, even if you don't have questions, I think a really great way to just bring eyes to you is to be like, hey, like, just post on Twitter, be like, hey, do you know how this works? Like, let me tell you how this works. Because first of all, a really great way to make sure that you're understanding something is by trying to teach it. And so you could use Twitter as a mechanism to teach the world. And people love seeing not educational tools, but educational information come out. So, but you can use your Twitter as a platform for teaching other people? And I think a really great question, if you're like, hey, I understand this, but I still want to talk to this person, I think a really great question to like underhand it is be like, hey, like I'm currently learning about this thing. I'd really love to talk to you to double check that my mental model and understanding about this idea is right. Do you have some time to hop on a call so I can like talk to you and like hear how you approach this question? So I just think that's like a really great, like easy intro question that might be like a really like quick way to just get someone's attention, because also people think about how to approach different problems differently every time. And
so like I like to tell everybody, I'm new to InfoSec. I'm not new to anything else.
yeah.
So watch how you talk to me, because
Hey.
Okay.
Oh my God, literally.
But
Literally
I don't look at those, so I like that part too.
Oh my God. I guess so. When we got back, when we got cut off, we were talking about utilizing social media as a way to grow. And I think that we can kind of tie in this next question that I have for you into this past question about how people can use social media to establish themselves in the industry. I'm super curious to hear from you, Tish. What do you think has been the biggest, like, what do you wish that people who come from a more traditional background like myself would understand about those who come from non-traditional backgrounds? Like, what do you feel like has been something that you wish we would get better?
That most of the time when we post a question, there really is no sarcasm in it. We're not trying to be dickheads. We genuinely don't know. And sometimes it's a really, really easy question, like, what is DNS? And for someone that's been in the industry, you would stop and you'd be like, why are you asking what's DNS? And yes, I can Google what's DNS and I can read 50 million chapters on what's DNS. But sometimes having a conversation with somebody for like 4 minutes, if that much, and the way that you break it down is literally all that we need. And then and this happens to me so many times as well. I have a specific folder of memes for responses, because I'll ask a question and I get the response. For example, recently again, someone posted what was the most torturous thing for you in InfoSec, and I said Linux. And somebody's response to that was, if you think Linux is torture, then maybe this is not for you. And by the way, I was actually being sarcastic with the Linux, semi-sarcastic, because it's like, yeah, it's Linux. Linux is torture for me. Of course, Linux is not torture for me. But, and that you see that transcend throughout social media on a lot of platforms. Like people from myself that are now coming into the industry, we'll ask a question and we ask that question and it's genuine, and then the answers are moronic and they make us feel really, really small. And it literally sometimes it gives you that okay, maybe this really is not for me. Sometimes you really have to dig inside to get past the responses, and I just don't feel like somebody that's experienced should do that at all. I mean, by all means, ask a question. Say, why do you want to know what DNS is? Or tell me, go Google it. And then I'll say, well, yeah, I did, but I didn't understand it in this aspect. But don't tell me, like, if you don't know what DNS is, then maybe this is not for you.
Yeah, no, that's not okay. And again, this is why I'm super passionate about education. Let's stop gatekeeping knowledge. Like, and ties into like, hey, let's discuss the way that people think about their let's talk about mental models or how people think about things and share those, because the way that my understanding of the world is different from your understanding of the world. Absolutely. And you might understand a topic way better than me. And I would love to hear the way that you think and approach these problems. And I think that's why having spaces like Twitter and Twitch and even LinkedIn, don't use that. But having spaces where you can go and ask and be like, hey, like I'm thinking about it this way. Can you help me? Is like exactly that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Um,
Thing I consider doing now, because I've been job searching and I can't get a job. So
hire her.
I'm probably gonna go and I'm gonna open an OnlyFans, sorry, account, and I'm gonna sit fully clothed. Sorry guys, I'm gonna sit fully clothed, and I'm just gonna talk tech talk on my open fans, on my
Yeah,
OnlyFans, sorry, because I gotta find a way for this tech thing to make me money some way or the other. So that's my next that's my next route. Me, Tish, OnlyFans, strictly tech talk. That's
let's
my
do
next
it.
thing to think of it.
Do it on Twitch. Honestly, do it on Twitch. Open it up, and then people will come.
Oh, people do that. We could
People
talk
will come over.
and just
I'm
talk
on
tech.
Twitch.
You talk
Just
tech
talk
on
tech.
Twitch?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, good. I might try that too, because
Do it.
it's hard. And that's another thing. It's really, really hard to get into this industry. I mean, you're networking, you're talking to people, and it's still really, really hard. I feel unless I know the actual owner of like a huge company, then that's probably my way in. But other than that, I'm sending out resumes. I'm still networking. I'm still learning, and um, another thing I noticed, a lot of the internships are geared to college students. They're not geared to the average person that wants to transition. So I also feel like that is really kind of like counterproductive, because yes, I know you want to hire and train, but I feel like if they were more open to hiring people that already had maybe like a substantial amount of past work experience, because I still find sometimes I can pull stuff from my past jobs and transition into tech with it. But even if I could have done that and still intern, I feel like companies could benefit from that a lot. And nobody's doing that. Everybody just wants you, working on your degree, working on something in college. And that is something that really bothers me, because I'm like, there's nothing for anybody that either just came out of a boot camp or transitioning. And, some of us have really good background skills. Some of us have really good soft skills that could be beneficial to your organization one way or the other. Not saying that don't pick the kids from college. Yes, do that too, but still make it at least accessible for everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you know, I feel like they would benefit a whole lot better if they did stuff like that. But that's something that you don't see at all. And it's kind of like nerve-wracking, because yeah, if you look at my resume, I have 15 years of real world experience, but nothing related to tech, except my technical aviation degree, which we do nothing with. And I can't even use it because I don't know what to do with it. But it's there. But then again, I have 15 years of experience, so you don't know how I can, grab that, teach me something, train me for 3 months, and you might actually have like a really great candidate. You might actually have like a really great worker, but they don't even want to explore that option.
Yeah,
And it's disheartening, because there's a lot of us out there in that same position, just trying to get our feet wet.
definitely, definitely. And I'll just say, as someone who's on the younger side of this industry, like I don't personally think I'm that young, but like when I go into meetings and I go and I see my peers, they're significantly older than me. So it's like, why not hire someone who's more aligned in the age group with people on these teams? It
Right.
just like doesn't make sense to me. Like hiring young people who are younger and only bringing on one or two of those people at a time is great, but it's like it also is really it's estranging. It estranges some. So just giving equal opportunity. Ageism is an issue. We should be giving equal opportunity to everyone across all different industries, second career, first career, no matter what, the opportunity to learn.
Yeah, you get them saying stuff like that, and then when you do send your resume, it just never happens that way.
Put your money where your mouth is.
Everybody has this idea of how perfect the tech world is, and they'll talk to you and they'll tell you, like, it's great, it's a great industry, yes, get into it, yes, but how do you really get into it? how do you want me to get into a junior role with, you're asking me for 1 to 2 years of experience. Where am I getting that experience from? It's a junior role. How does a junior role require me to have a year's experience? What was that? Who was going to hire me?
That's not junior.
What is
That's not
junior? What is your version of junior?
Yeah.
What is
Yeah.
entry level? Entry level is right out of school. I mean, as far as I know, entry level is right out of school. How is it that you're asking me for 1 to 2 years of experience with entry level? And it has to be in that particular field. You didn't say entry level. You didn't say 1 to 2 years of experience, like work experience, because hey, I got that. But how is it that if I'm applying for a junior entry level pen testing or threat intelligence role, but you require me to have 1 to 2 years experience? Please answer, where am I getting that experience? And then
Literally.
after 1 to 2 years, how am I still a junior? Or how am I still entry level? It makes no sense.
Literally. No, like, period. You're totally right.
So to whoever is writing up these job requirements, please just fix it, because that ain't it.
Have you seen that job requirement that was like, you need to have like 12 years of React experience? And everyone's like, I don't quote me on the numbers. Don't quote me on the numbers, but people are like, literally React didn't exist that long ago.
That's when they asked for Docker. They want you with 10 years of Docker experience.
And you're just like, okay, like,
did you Google them? When did...
Are you looking for the person that made Docker? Like, not at that salary, sis.
Oh,
like, yeah. Not at that salary, bestie. Nice try.
No.
Oh my God.
So yeah, I feel like that part of the industry definitely does need a complete overhaul. And I wish a lot of people would significantly advocate for it, because then it would make life a whole lot easier for newcomers like myself, for people that are coming into the industry, people that are now coming out of school, or just for anybody that does not have that existing opportunity, because it really doesn't make sense. Like, from from a regular day-to-day average individual standpoint, you cannot ask someone for experience based on entry level. The maths don't make sense. The maths not maths. Yeah. Make it make sense, you know.
Makes sense.
So hopefully that changes soon. Hopefully they're willing to start onboarding with like a 3-month apprenticeship type program. You know, and you know, even if it doesn't work out, put it in a way where you know, you receive like a competitive type of stipend or something, so that way you're not really locking anybody into like a contract. Or maybe you can do one of those, we'll trial you for 3 months, see how it goes, see what happens after 3 months, and you know, we'll onboard you onto this role. If you're successful after 3 months, we keep you. If not, you know, I don't see anything like that at all. I'm always looking for positions like that, simply because I don't have the 1 to 2 year experience. So then the next thing for me would be to look for a role that has supporting apprenticeship, learning, or training to hire. And I mean, that is literally like a needle in a haystack. I can't find it anywhere. And I'm gonna Google. I have a master's in Googling. I can find stuff, but I cannot find that because it just simply does not exist.
Yeah. And that's rough. That's frustrating.
No, I feel like the frustrating part is listening to the CFOs and all of these big HR executives come and say, our biggest issue right now is there's not enough people in security. And I'm just like, well, if you want to hire me, and I need to have 2 years of experience, and I need to have a bunch of certifications behind me, and you don't want to onboard me with training, then of course there's going to be a deficit on your end. Of course there's not going to be anybody in this industry because you're not making it easy to get in. So what is it really? Do you want to have no security, or do you want to have security? Do you want to protect your company, or you don't want to protect your company? Because it kind of is like a give and take. If you really want this, then you will invest in your candidates when you hire them, when you onboard them. You would have some sort of program in place where it's not 1956 anymore. Like, those rules don't work. Everything needs to be overhauled. And I actually want to figure out how to do it. I want to yell at some people. I want to sit and have a conversation with people that, are so adamant about, this is how the industry is and this is how it's supposed to be. I would like to have like a solid bit of knowledge to sit and explain to them, well, this is really not how it's supposed to be. The same way that hackers are learning to hack your stuff and coming up with new ideas to do things. It's everything is evolving. So your old methods that worked back in 1966 or 1972 is not going to work now. So you need to, you can't say you want to go with the latest tech. You want to have the latest technology. You want to have the people with the latest educational certifications, but then you don't want to fix your hiring system. Hiring system in tech is very outdated, and I wish I knew who to talk to or how to talk to somebody so that they can really understand that that is the root of the problem. Not that there's not enough people. There is enough people. The root of the problem is that the hiring mechanism is broken.
More people need to put their money where their mouth is. It's like, and as someone from a background, a traditional education background, I make it a very well-known point that we need to be like, but whenever I interview at a company, I'm like, hey, like, what are you doing to support and uplift junior engineers? Mm-hmm. Like, it's important. If you are someone who's at a company and you're being hurt in the hiring, like, why are you not trying to make a change internally so that your company puts on and offers more experiences to juniors across all levels? The people are there. People are like, as you said, people are saying there's no people in the pipeline. It's not there's no people. There's no senior people and no one wants to do the work.
That too. Absolutely. And you know what? Maybe we should find someone in HR and have a conversation about them and expand on this, because I feel like it definitely is something that we need to talk about, especially with someone that's that's their role and their field and they're more experienced and maybe they can guide us. But I know I'm not wrong about that part though. There's people there. However they hire, they need to overhaul on that. But I would love to sit and have a conversation with someone that's their field and they're actively recruiting, and maybe they can shed some light.
If you're an HR person, DM us.
Come on by.
Come on by. We would love to have you on this call and hear your insights. Again, this is, or even more so, if you're listening to this and you have questions for HR people, we can try and find someone and ask those questions. So if you're listening right now, like, DM us. I'm at Ending with Allie. What about you, Tush? Where can people find you?
Cup at Twitter.
So send us messages. Yeah. But as we come towards like the end of this time together, I'm super excited to start this journey. Do you have any like closing or parting words?
So I'm really excited to be co-hosting this with you. And to our viewers, we have so much exciting stuff. Our aim for this podcast is first and foremost, we're females, so you rarely see that in this industry as well. Super hyped about that. Another thing is that I'm excited to go against the norm of what podcasts are. I'm really excited for all of the lineup of people that we're going to be bringing on board to have conversations with us. I promise you, it's not going to be like the regular podcast where you fall asleep at that 15-minute check mark. No. So please join us. Follow us on our socials. It's what is it? I love Allie.
I'm at Ending with Allie, ENDINGWITHALI, on everything, including Minecraft.
Oh, Minecraft. Okay.
I love Minecraft. I love Minecraft.
Do you do Roblox too?
No, but at this point I should. I should get on Roblox, honestly.
if you like Minecraft, you should definitely do Roblox. And oh yeah, that way then we can probably bring maybe somebody tiny.
Oh my god, live interview in Roblox?
Yes. Told you, this is not your regular podcast.
Not your regular podcast.
Thanks for joining us.
Thanks. We'll see you in the next episode, everyone. Bye.
Bye.